Hi guys, my name's Taya. I'm going to be demonstrating the Wisp Weaver bracelet. I'll populate a photo of that here. Super delicate and really fun jewelry kit that I made. And very beginner friendly as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this focal piece. This is a section of a vintage French filigree. So it's very old. Very nice, very expensive and gorgeous looking. But what I'm gonna do is actually punch 2 holes in these little tiny flowers here, the center of them, so that we can fit some little gemstones in there. So you're gonna clamp like that. Make sure it's not gonna move before you push it all the way through. It takes 2 hands sometimes. And I like to twist to get this guy off, because sometimes if you yank, it's not very good for the delicate filigrees. Just like that. Nice little hole. Do one more here. Line it up as best as you can. Kind of like that. Do that again. And then this centerpiece is going to have one more hole in it. And this one's going to be the really tricky one that you'll want to line up as well as you possibly can before you punch it through. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get them off after you've punched, but you do want to be delicate with it because these branches are a little bit delicate. I want to be able to spin this off without spinning that branch there too much, because that's what we would not want to break. Maybe I'll actually have Soy, do you want to take this off for me?
Almost spilled Max drink all over the place.
I'll let him. He's got stronger fingers and I'm afraid to break it.
Another thing you can do is you can use pliers gently.
Oh yeah, so I'm holding the right part.
Yeah, so, and just like.
Oh yeah, this is why it's so nice as a beginner to be surrounded by people that are experienced or have a community of people that know what they're doing. Makes it a little bit easier when you need help with the tiny things. And you can always learn new tips as well. Alrighty, so as you can see, we added some chainmail as well, which we did. I thought I had pre-made that, but I guess I hadn't. So I'm gonna want to get going on that. Now it looks like each of these chainmails have about three links in all of them. I'm going to kind of go through these a little bit quicker, but if you're watching from YouTube and you'd like more information on how to do these chainmails, you can watch the Wisp Weaver necklace kit, and that'll give you a little bit more of a step-by-step tutorial on this. I'm going to try and go through it a little bit quicker. And it's always good to take your time when you're working with really vintage anything, but especially filigrees or softer metals. It's better to take your time trying to take something off or get it through than accidentally ripping it, because sometimes it's a little bit easy if you're putting so much tension on it like that for the piece to just kind of break, especially older pieces. So definitely keep that in mind. How's it looking, Soy?
Good. Good.
Alrighty.
Yeah, definitely use pliers if it gets
Stuck.
If it gets a little stuck.
Yeah, that didn't happen to me yesterday, so it might not happen to you, but if it does, better to know how to fix it, I guess. So is there any way you'd want to help me?
If I want what?
Would you want to help me make some
sure.
chainmail off?
I can just do it on the side if you wanted to. If you need another one done.
Yes, so I'm gonna need 3 of these done.
Of your chainmail loops?
Yeah, and I actually looped that guy into the wrong one, so I'm gonna do that. And that happens sometimes. If it gets hard to see or if it gets muddied, all you gotta do is string one side of it up like that, and then you can see what you're working with. Okay, and we're gonna add one more. Throw those 2 like that.
How long is the loop?
We did,
2 doubles and then singles on the outside, or?
I think they all kind of vary. So it looks like this one we had 4,
Oh,
the
4
double.
full ones, yes.
but the other ones we only had 3. So let's just stick with 3.
Okay, yeah.
And then you'll have
That
enough.
might have been the one I did too. Like I might have done the doubles all the way
Yeah.
and just not noticed.
And you don't even really need to do another link on the end of all of them unless you want to. But we're gonna need 2 of those guys.
Okay.
All right. Well, I have him working on those chain links for me. Hopefully you got a good picture of what that looked like. I'm going to start working on this one again. So as I mentioned before, there's going to be 3 holes in this one. And this hole is the one that makes me sweat a little bit because it's on this tiny little leaf. And you want to make sure that you can line that up really well, because if you do it too far to the side, it might open it up the hole. And then obviously you can't really do very much with that. So I'm going to be very, 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 very careful. Also, one thing I would say, I thought it was a good idea to go through the back like this, and it wasn't, because the other side is sloped, and so it slipped when I went through on the other side, and I was thinking it would look so perfect and beautiful because I'm matching it through the back. I'd recommend always punching with the portion you're going to be seeing on the front, just so you can be so sure that you're not going to punch too close to the side. And I'm pretty lucky because I cut myself a few extra just in case I messed up. But it is really better to try to get as even on all sides as possible in case you don't have the option. And I'll have to ask Mackie what she would do in that case if she had no access to other filigrees, what she would do to try to fix it. And it could be something that you could do with resin. I'm just not super sure. So I'm going to lightly bend here so that I can see where my hole punch is going. And just double check on all sides that there's room before I punch through. It is a little bit close to the left here, so I'm just going to rotate it that way. Okay. I'm going to punch. Same deal, just wiggle that guy off. And like Sawyer was saying, if it gets stuck, you can hold that tight. But I think that it'll be okay because it's a little bit stronger of a leaf here if I just kind of go like this. just wiggling. This is my least favorite part of hole punching, is getting it off the hole punch.
Another thing that I do sometimes, I'll show you, and then you can do it, is like you like put your pliers.
You might be able to just do that in the camera.
Yeah, true. You want to get it to like move a little bit more. It's hard to do it from so far away. You gotta find some leverage. And start wiggling it like that. Because what you're doing is you're making the hole just a little bit bigger. And then
thank you.
oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. So you just want to find good leverage points where you're not gonna like scrape up your piece too much. And then we'll be able to get it off.
While he's doing that, I'm going to show you the paint that I used for this focal point. So it kind of rubbed off. This is the Dragon Eye from the Shimmer collection of the Ultimate enamel paints. So a little bit of that to this side there. And while he's working on that, I'm just going to show you this technique. So it's very similar to the ones we've done in the past, but as you can see, I wanted to add a little bit of extra something to this loop, so I just double looped it on every single one of these. And this is like a little bit of a variation of the type of beads that you'll get that you can use, so you don't have to do the exact same thing as me. In fact, it'll probably be a little bit different, but it's kind of fun to be able to add your own flair to it, you know? You can add a different pattern, you can add more colors. So really I'm just gonna clip a little tiny piece, very minimal, off the top there. You're gonna go like this and wrap it like that. And then after I get a little arch like that, I like to bring it in this way so that I can see what I'm doing. Because then you're gonna wrap and follow it along. And just try and straighten that out a little bit. So you're just gonna start curling it around itself like that. And you can tighten it. And that's not the best one I've ever done, but that is the technique that you'll be using. I'm gonna tighten those a little bit because I don't really love how that turned out. The nice thing about these is that they're pretty forgiving because you left them long, so if you want to straighten it out and do it again, you can. But I'm going to show you another one, mostly so I can get some practice, but so you can see a better way of doing that, because that one didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. Put this one through. And I realized that where I went wrong with that one is moving it forward like I do for my other ones. But typically, I would just keep it right to the side, right there on the bottom. That way, it turns out more looking like that. So a lot cleaner, a lot nicer than that first one I did. But you can always just clean it up if you don't love it very much. Wrap it tight. Alrighty, well I might as well start putting this together really quick. Just gonna assemble this. And it doesn't even have to be the same pattern that I had put my bracelet in. You can literally make this your own, however you want. And then, oh man, Soy stole my pliers twice. Here we go. Close that one up. Can add this bead. Probably grab another one of these guys. I believe you'll get about 10 in your kit. It might be more than that. But you'll be able to have a lot of these jump rings as well. So that if you wanted to make your chainmail longer and then in turn make the bracelet longer, you can absolutely do that. So these ones I just looped similar to the way that I just showed. I'm just gonna put this guy here. Were you able to get that portion off?
Yep. Just one second while I finish up.
Okay. That's okay, we can just keep assembling this portion. And you can do it where you do jump ring bead, or you can get a little crazy and add a double jump ring. And all you want to do for that is find the side that's not double wrapped. Open it up like that. And loop that through. You're just going to take the end here like this. And then pull that back down. Like that. And then you can tighten it if you want. Yeah, this bracelet's really cool because it can really be so versatile. It doesn't have to be any specific way. And typically I think I'd be working off of the centerpiece, but I think Soy's just trying to get that portion off. It is doable. Yesterday I didn't have any issues with that at all when I made the bracelet. And so it could be that that metal that was used for that one was just a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher than the other one that I used. Oh. Oopsies. And that's okay. You do want to be patient with those guys just because, again, they are a little bit more fragile. Okay, I think I'm gonna add one here, and I'm thinking now this is where I'll put my filigree, like that. I'll add a few more of these jump rings. This portion here. Add a green bead. And one more of these. And I don't know if Soy did another chainmail before I made him fix that other one, but I think what I'll do is add one more here. I'll lay out the chainmail like this. A little bit bigger, it's a little bit harder to see.
We got that piece for you.
You can what?
Mackie and I were discussing in the other room a technique for getting it off
Oh.
more easily. So when it's like stuck on, so when it's stuck through the hole, what we did is we took some side cutters and we like wedged it in between where
and,
the
like,
piece
pulled
was
up?
and the thing, and then we pulled up, and it helped a lot.
Oh, that's so smart.
So if you end up getting one that's stuck,
Okay.
use side cutters.
Well, now I can paint it. It's back, guys. Thank you for helping, Mac and Soy. Right. That is a little bit dry. These paints do dry really, really fast, so I'm gonna do some fresh paint there. And I'm just gonna delicately go over the petals of the flower only. And again, this is totally up to you. You can paint this however you'd like. I just really liked this dragon eye color. Don't mind my slouching. I'm trying to be able to see it a little bit better. Probably have better posture while doing this. Okay. Just like that. And the reason I'm doing this one right now is just because I want this portion to dry before I glue the gemstones and before I wrap this. Because the way that we've connected this guy, I just wrapped this portion around like that and made a little loop. And then that way you can hold it. Just like that. Might as well just use a heat gun really quick. A little power to it. Use a hairdryer too if you wanted. Or you could wait the 2 minutes. Totally personal preference. Okay, it's gonna be a tiny bit hot. Whew, a little bit more than a tiny bit, I guess. Let that cool down there. Maybe I will add a few more beads to this side as well. Love, would you mind handing me the pliers that are at the top of that table over there?
Here?
Those are the ones.
Yes. I would not mind.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's how it's looking so far. Might as well add one more bead here. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for the chain that you need, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, this cooled down pretty nicely. So I'm gonna grab these guys. And I do want this to be a little bit more wide, so I'm gonna start a little bit closer to the middle there. And I'm just gonna pull, usually I would use the piece that I'm doing to pull around the barrel, but because this is a filigree, I'm just gonna be using my hands in this sort of motion. So I'll be moving the tool rather than the piece. I'm just gonna go just like that. I'm gonna tighten that a little bit, just by pushing there. So now we have a nice, pretty secure loop like that. I'm gonna go ahead and add a chain wheel here. Thank you for your help, guys. I appreciate that. Add an extra loop to the side just so that I can link the filigree. Right through there. Yay, it's coming together. I open up this side of this other chainmail that Soy finished for me. Just like that. And if for whatever reason you do this side a little bit too tight while doing this loop on the filigree, it's super easy to use a bead awl to just reconnect those. Okay, and I'm going to secure this here, and then I'm going to add a jump ring on the, or not a jump ring, but a lobster clasp rather, on the other side so that it's not too close to my filigree portion. So I'm just going to open it up right here. Keep that there. Add the lobster clasp to this guy. And if for whatever reason, I guess that's a little bit too wide, so I'm actually going to use a jump ring here. A JR20 jump ring. And then pull that through and tighten it. I'm doing that a lot today. Close this guy up here. You can add more or less beads depending on how wide your wrists are or how wide you want the bracelet to be. But there will be plenty of jump rings and beads in your kit to get a good variation on sizes. Okay. So I'm going to do 3 more things, and then we are going to be all done with this kit. Now I'm going to be focusing mainly on this centerpiece. So I don't super love the brassy gold tone, so I'm going to take some elderberry, which is my favorite stain that I use almost every day if I can find it. There we go. Elderberry. I'm gonna use a frayed brush. Just get the sides like that. Can't even see me. I'm just getting the sides of the brush, just like that. And I'm gonna use that to go over this portion of the filigree that's showing that really brassy texture, or not texture, but tone, I should say. I'm just gonna buff that in really quick. If you want to, you can use the rest of it and do the same with the back side. If you don't want that side to be shown as super brassy as well. You just want to buff that all in. Might show through a little bit on the other side, which is okay. There's a little bit more texture there with some purple, which I kind of like that as well, so I might as well add some more to that. Alrighty, now for the fun part, we're going to be gluing. And you'll be getting 3 little rhinestones with this kit. You want to put a little dollop right in the middle there. Goes a little bit more to the side even. that in all 3 centerpieces on the flower. And if for whatever reason you'd want to paint this big one rather than use a rhinestone, that's totally okay. 100% personal preference. So I'm going to try and let that get a tiny bit tacky. And I'm just going to press my finger into it so that the cone portion is right there at the top. And then I'm just going to gently lay the stone in there. Move whatever you have that's tiny to make sure that it sits in the middle, just like that. Do that again. And sometimes you just gotta gently use your fingernail to get it off your finger. Your hands are a little bit more tacky, which is okay. And I'm just hitting it. It's a little bit easier when the glue is a little bit more tacky because it doesn't move around as much. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm actually just going to drop that one. It's okay if it's not center, because then I can just move it straight to the center and do some tapping. There you have it. Here's that finished bracelet. This one I can even move just a tiny bit. Alrighty, so here's the 2 finished, and there's a lot of variation that you can do with this. I did shine this one. I used a shine cloth and a sand block that I don't have right now. And I shined this portion so that that texture shines through a little bit. And after this dries, I'm going to do the same thing so that I can have a little bit more of the leaf texture come up. So what I'll do, I'm not going to do it now because the glue is still setting, but I would just run this over the top, and then that will create more of this effect for you. Alrighty, so those are the finished bracelets. This one's one of my favorites just because you can get so creative with it. You don't have to do exactly what I did. You don't have to do exactly what's on the photo because you'll have a variation of beads to work with. So I'll just populate that photo again. We'll have some greens, some browns, just a lot of warm tones. But yeah, totally adjust that to however you'd like. So I'll go ahead and bring you back up here. I appreciate you watching this tutorial. You can find this kit on vintageliveshopid.com. And we'll also probably eventually, we'll link some of the tools below in the description as well. If you would like to have a little bit of what we used today, or like exactly what we used today, I should say. But with that, I appreciate you having so much patience and watching me with my tutorials. I hope that you guys have a great day.